Good morning, children. Sai Ram. I welcome you all to the online class of economics. Children, today I'm going to start the next chapter of our book, and that is chapter number 11. And the name of our chapter is Foreign Exchange Rate. Children, this is the first video of this chapter, and in this video, we are going to learn some of the important topics of this chapter. Like, we are going to learn first the concept of foreign exchange and the foreign exchange rate, flexible and fixed exchange rate system, managed floating, components of demand for foreign exchange, and components of demand of you can say supply of foreign exchange, and finally we are going to learn the foreign exchange market. So children, let us start with the first topic, foreign exchange. Children, what is foreign exchange? Foreign exchange refers to all currencies other than the domestic currency of a given country. Children, as you all know that our country's domestic currency is Indian rupee, and Indian rupee is readily accepted everywhere in our country. I mean, nobody is going to refuse of taking the payment or paying the payment in Indian rupee. Every person who are living in a country are legally bound to accept it as a medium of exchange. So, an Indian rupee is considered as a medium of exchange in a country. So when you're talking about a country's domestic currency, then as I just said is the Indian rupee. Now an Indian rupee is readily accepted everywhere in a country. But if you are going to pay it in any foreign countries, then Indian rupee cannot be taken as a medium of exchange because the country can want their payment in their own country's currency. Like if you are going in US, I mean, if you're going in America or UK, Poland, or any other foreign countries, and if you are buying something from the country, or if you want to make a payment to the country, to anybody who is living in the foreign country, then you have to make them payment in their own country's currency. Then Indian rupee will not be considered as I mean, they will refuse your taking an Indian rupee because they want their own payment in their own country's currency. So that is why we can say that if for any countries, for any country, all the currencies which is a domestic currency will be considered as the foreign exchange. Now next is the foreign exchange rate. Now what is foreign exchange rate? Children, foreign exchange rate refers to the rate at which the currency of one country is exchanged with the currency of another country. Suppose if you want to exchange one US dollar, then it is equal to let's say 75 rupees. So we are taking an example here that one American dollars, if we can exchange with an Indian rupee, then one US dollars is obviously is equal to 75 rupees. Now this exchange rate gives us the rate at which a country's currency is converted into another country's currency. So, children, basically there are three types of foreign exchange rate system. The first one is fixed exchange rate system. The second is the flexible exchange rate system. The third one is the managed floating exchange rate system. I mean, the third is basically the hybrid of the fixed exchange rate system and the flexible exchange rate system. So, when we're talking about the fixed exchange rate system, a fixed exchange rate system is a rate which is officially fixed by the government, any monetary authority, and it is not determined by the market forces. So we can see that in ancient times, children, when the money was not introduced, basically, then the exchange rate has been fixed by the two different ways. The first one is the gold standard method, and the second one is the Bretton Woods system. So, gold standard system of exchange is an old variant of exchange rate system, and according to this system, you can say the gold was taken as a common unit of parity between currencies of different countries. As you all know, every country was to define the value of its currency in terms of gold. So accordingly, the value of one currency in terms of in terms of the another currency was fixed, considering gold as considering gold value of each currency. So, for example, children, suppose if the one UK pound is equal to 4 gram of gold and one US dollars is equal to 2 gram of gold, then previously we can fix the exchange rate of any two countries' currency in terms of gold. Like as I just said, the conversion of UK pound is already fixed with the gold, and as well as it is fixed with the US dollars also. So when any exchange can be taken place in between UK dollars and UK pound and US dollars, then it can be fixed in terms of gold. Like if as I just said, if one UK pound is equal to 4 gram of gold and if one US dollars is equal to 2 gram of gold, then one UK pound is equal to 2 US dollars. So this is the way we obviously use to convert one currency into the another currency in terms of gold, which is known as the fixed exchange rate system, and it is also known as the gold standard method. Then thereafter, one more method is being introduced by the name of Bretton Woods system of exchange, or it is also called as adjustable peg system of exchange rate. So Bretton Woods system, uh, children, Bretton Woods system, you can say allowed uh, some adjustments. So it was also called as a adjustable peg system of exchange rate. And according to this system, children, different countries were pegged. I mean, it is related to one currency, that is of dollars. I mean, every country's currency has been fixed with one core unit of conversion, that is US dollars, and US dollars was assigned as the gold value at a fixed price. And children, the value of one currency in terms of US dollars ultimately implied value of that currency in terms of gold, and gold continued to be the ultimate unit of parity between any two currencies. And you can say that adjustments in the parity value of a currency was possible only what possible but only if allowed by the International Monetary Fund. So this system was abandoned. Basically, this system of I mean the fixed exchange rate system, in where the exchange rate system has been fixed in terms of gold, was abandoned in 1977, and it was replaced by the flexible exchange rate system. Next is children, as we have the some of the important points of this fixed exchange rate system, as I just explained you. As I just said, fixed exchange rate system is a rate which has been fixed by the government, and the government maintains a given exchange rate over a period of time, and this could be for a few months or even for a few years. And in order to maintain the exchange rate at a stated level, the government uses fiscal as well as the monetary policies to control the aggregate demand. So when you see the diagram here, the diagram says that here we have a representation of the fixed exchange rate system. And yeah, our exchange rate, which is fixed by the government itself, is being expressed here in terms of the red line. I mean, it is showing you in the second slide of in the middle of the slide where you're watching the official rate. I mean, this is a fixed exchange rate system of any foreign currencies which is being fixed by the government, and here we have a demand and supply curve which is intersecting this fixed exchange rate system at a point. So wherever the point intersects with each other is an equilibrium point, or it's an equilibrium point where the currencies of one currency is being exchanged with the currency of another currency. So children, if we have any kind of advantages of any particular thing, then we do have our disadvantages as well. So we are here. We have some of the disadvantages of fixed exchange rate system. Now the first advantage says that protecting the exchange rate requires the domestic economic policies to be frequently adjusted, and monetary policy reserves are needed to protect the value, and an improvement in an economy is competitiveness, that results in the lower price. So we have this kind of you can say the points, the some of the disadvantages of fixed exchange rate system. Now next we have flexible exchange rate system. Now what is the flexible exchange rate system? Children, the flexible exchange rate system is a rate which is determined by the forces of demand and supply of the foreign exchange market. And this flexible exchange rate system, which is also called as the floating exchange rate system, and is the system which is determined by the market demand and forces, and it is also called as free market economy, or the free economy, or the free exchange rate, and as it is determined by the free flow of market demand and forces in the internationally money market. So the exchange rate at which the demand for foreign exchange is equal to supply the is called as the par rate of exchange, or equilibrium rate of exchange. Now how we are going to determine the flexible exchange rate system? Children, as I just said, a floating exchange rate system regime is where the rate of exchange is determined purely by the market demand and supply of that currency on the foreign exchange market. And what are the determination of the floating exchange rate system? If the exchange rate is allowed to be determined by the market forces and supply on the foreign exchange market. And one thing is very important to understand here, like like the fixed exchange rate system, where there is no intervention of the government here. The government is not able to decide the prices of the foreign exchange rate. It is to be decided by the market forces of demand and supply. Children, in the ancient time, as you all know, when the peoples are very simple, then they used to exchange their goods with one another to satisfy their common need, which is called as the barter system. So when you can say the need arises, then they can fulfill the demand by exchanging their goods with each other. So when the foreign exchange rate system is being introduced, now the conversion of any currency is termed in terms of gold, or in terms of another currency, as I just explained you in fixed exchange rate system. Now in flexible exchange rate system, it again been determined by the market forces of the demand and supply, but here there is neither there is no kind of intervention of the government, what we have in the fixed exchange rate system. Now the third exchange rate system is the managed floating. So this is basically the combination of fixed and the flexible exchange rate, and under this the country manipulate the exchange rate to adjust the deficit in balance of payments by following certain guidelines issued by the Internationally Monetary Fund. In the managed floating exchange rate system, the exchange rate system is determined by the market forces of demand and supply, and it is also being fixed by the government. So here in the managed floating exchange rate system, it is basically a hybrid of both the exchange rate system, where the features of fixed exchange rate system as well as the flexible exchange rate system is being used in this kind of managed exchange system. So what happens is the central bank of a country, for India as RBI, fixed up the exchange rate system up to a particular extent. The RBI is saying that no matters the exchange rate of any foreign currencies can be determined by the market forces of demand and supply, and it limit this exchange to a particular extent. Like suppose if one US dollars is being exchanged with rupees 60, then the RBI has fixed up to a certain limit. Like if the prices of the domestic currency reduce, then it should not be reduced more than with this limit. And if it is being exchanged and if it is increased, then the exchange rate of foreign currency cannot be increased up to that particular limit. So here the RBI has you can say RBI is doing manipulating here in fixing the exchange rate system. The RBI is saying that the exchange rate of any foreign currencies cannot be reduced up to maximum this limit, and it should not be increased up to this maximum limit. So this is called a dirty floating, and if the country manipulate the exchange rate without following the guidelines issued by the International Monetary Fund, then it is called as the dirty floating. So we have some features of managed float exchange rate system. This is where the currency is broadly managed by the market forces of demand and supply, but the government takes action to influence the rate of change in the exchange rate. I mean, it's fixing basically the minimum as well as the maximum limit of increase or decreasing the value of foreign currencies. So determination of managed float rate for float exchange rate. So the Central Bank of India, the central bank for like RBI in India, seeks to stabilize the exchange rate within a predetermined range for a given period of time, but does not fix it at a particular level. So this allows for policymakers the benefit of planning, which the benefit of planning yes, the benefit of planning with some degree of certainty for the macroeconomies it offers for a country. So, so what I'm going to say that the central bank intervenes to smoothen out up and down in the exchange rate of home currency to its own advantages. So, next topic is the demand of foreign currency. Children, there is one important top. This is also an important topic in which you are going to learn how we are going to demand the foreign currency and why we are demanding the foreign currency. So, children, why we are demanding the foreign exchange rate or any foreign currencies? Children, we are demanding for the foreign exchange because to purchase goods and services from the foreign countries. Like if we are going to any foreign countries, then we need that foreign currency to buy some of the products, some of the goods and services from that country. That is why they need because they need the payment in their own country, and therefore we need a foreign currency to pay them for the goods and services we are consuming or we are purchasing from the foreign countries. Now the second is to send gifts abroad. Suppose if you want to send the gifts abroad, suppose if there is any relative who is living in any foreign countries, and if you want to send them or him the money, then what we are going to do is we are basically converting an Indian rupee into the foreign currency. Then only we are going to make them payment in their own country's currency. So that is also the reason why we are in need of a foreign currency or the foreign exchange. And the second is to purchase financial assets, I mean the shares and bonds. If we want to buy any kind of investments, we need the that country's currency for making an investment. That is why we need the foreign currency. And the fourth one is to speculate on the value of foreign currencies. Next is to undertake foreign tours, to meet directly, to shop, uh, I mean, to what is saying like to invest directly in the shop, factories, or even in the building. So we also need the foreign currency, and then finally to make payment of the internationally uh, trade. So this is the various reasons why we are in need of foreign currency. So when you look up the graph, children, you just see at the rate of R1, the demand of foreign currency increases. So children, when the rate is R1, I mean if rupees, if the one US dollars is being exchanged with 50 rupees, then the demand is like N, which is 200 units. And if the exchange rate increase, like if one US dollars is being exchanged with 70 rupees, then the demand of US dollars will be decreased, because it becomes costly to convert into one US dollars. Therefore demand will be shift towards left, from towards left. And the next is, I mean, so children, the next topic is the equilibrium rate. Sorry, the next one is the supply of foreign currency. Now how is the supply of the foreign currency can be fulfilled? So how is the foreign currency can be received? So when the foreigners purchase like say a home, countries goods and services through exports, then we need then there is a supply of foreign exchange. Like if any foreigners are coming into our country and they are buying something, then then they actually are making us payment into their own countries, their own country's currency. And in this way we get the foreign country's currency with the selling of a domestic product, or even exporting a domestic product to the foreign countries. The now next one is when the foreigners invest in the bonds and equity shares of a home country. I mean, if the foreigners are buying the shares, or you can say investing in the various investment schemes of a country, then also there is a supply of a foreign exchange. Foreign currency flow into the economy due to the currency's dealers and speculators. And the next one is when foreign currency, or you can say when the foreign tourists come to India, then also there is a supply of foreign currency. And finally, when the foreign workers working abroad send you can say their savings to send their savings to their family or relatives, then also in any given country there is a supply of foreign currency. So as such, the supply curve is move upward from from left to right on the upper side. So if the supply at one US dollars is rupees 50, I mean if the one US dollar has been exchanged with 50 rupees, and now if the exchange rate increases, then there is a supply of a foreign exchange, because here Indian rupee becomes depreciated, and its value decreases. That is why more and more foreigners, or any foreign countries are giving their orders, or even they are buying the Indian product, because now an Indian rupee becomes cheaper. So, children, um, that's all for today. And in today's video, what we have understood first the definition of foreign exchange, thereafter foreign exchange rate, the method of converting one currency into another currency. I mean, what is the fixed exchange rate system, the flexible exchange rate system, managed floating exchange rate system, and thereafter we have learned the components of demand of foreign exchange as well as the supply of the foreign exchange. So children, thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day, and Sairam. Goodbye.